Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Firstly, I want to thank you all for allowing me to chew your ears off during the week, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All of you guys passing through to the streams, mad love and respect. And to all the new people passing through to the channel, 73,000 of you are showing love every single day. Mad love and respect for every single one of you people. Got nothing but love for you. But we need to have a conversation about Bitcoin, okay? So, firstly, let's understand what's been going on the higher time frame. So Bitcoin has been very aggressive today, or should I say over the past 24 to 48 hours. Most of the reactions that we see in the chart are based on news plays, but let's be honest now, all right? Even with the news that came out today and the last couple of days as well regarding tensions overseas, even if that wasn't the case, the question on our minds should be, would this move to the downside, would it have played out anyway? Because look at what was going on. They were pushing price higher, but not really getting anywhere. This big green candle right here was one of the clues. Okay, this other green vector candle in this zone was also a clue as well. Why? Because they were marking price in particular points in the charts, making traders put liquidity down. They engaged in the buying the dip scenario, okay, and a couple of guys talking about cup with handles and what have you, and wedges and whatever. You hear me talking about it in the streams, and why do I keep repeating it is because I'm trying to help you guys understand why you've got a better chance at seeing a trade go in your favor if you are in with the narrative of what the market maker's trying to do. Now, you'll never know completely what he's trying to do, but he likes to leave footprints. We understand when they're spiking the highs, they're triggering traders to go long. All right. Then when they bring price back down and try and make another attempt in that zone and they fail to move higher, it's sort of telling you that things are starting to slow down. The presence of 3, 1, 2, 3 hits to the high, drop, retrace, continuation to the downside. All right. When you profile the price action that you see in the charts, all right, trying to just stick with the idea of a pattern right here or a break of the 50 EMA here. In essence, you're having to deal with hindsight most of the time, all right? And look, I'm talking in hindsight, but I'll be showing you a couple of images on a few posts that I sent out to the patrons on plays that were potentially going to go into particular points in the charts and how you could look to, in essence, exploit these plays, okay? I don't know why I took about 5-10 minutes trying to say that. Man, it's been a mad day for me, ladies and gentlemen. It's been one of them days. You know, I've been with my daughter all day and she's been working magic in making sure that I am completely non-stop. But you know what? We've got nothing but love for the mini market maker. Anyways, back to the status of this madness of a game that we call trading. So, when you're trying to decipher what they're likely to do next, sticking with the idea of why the market maker would move price into this range, or in other words, what's he going to try and get retail traders to do, that's going to improve the chance of you seeing a move going in your favor, okay? So, going back to this video here. No, this one. Back when... on the 16th, back when they did this video here, this zone will prove Bitcoin's worth. We were waiting for Bitcoin to hold the 50 EMA in this zone. All right. Yes, we had an M formation. At the same time, we could have seen Bitcoin come back down a little bit to form a W formation to shift out in the range. What we were expecting was it going to hold this 50 EMA? Because it came down at speed. Were they ready to come back down into this previous pool of liquidity? This is what that stream was talking about. All right. Things, of course, went south from that point, okay? They not only tested the 50, but they also violated the 50 and came back down. They came in and trapped traders one more time. See, this was one of the other clues. This zone right here. Yeah? Because if they were trying to show a test of the 50 EMA, how many traders were thinking that? Now, of course, we were thinking if they're going to hold the 50 EMA, what would we need to see price doing? Well, I always say to you guys, if they're going to break away from the 50 EMA, you're waiting for price to move away from it, move and expand away from the 50 EMA. You don't do anything until it comes back down to retrace back into that same range that it moved away from. And then you'll be paying attention to see if price was going to follow through and move higher, where you'd be able to exploit this area here because it was looking to try and break away from it to come back up and take these previous zones in the chart. You see, this move right here gave the market makers, in essence, the opportunity to believe that it was going to move higher. Or should I say, the retail trader to believe it was going to come back up into these zones. Okay? But they didn't follow through with it. Why? Because the green vector candle didn't close fully to the highest point in the chart. If you go and look at green vector candles, all right? For every time that they close to the highest point, at some point they're going to follow through and move higher from that point. Just look at this one. They don't fully close at the highest point, but the candlestick itself was a big push higher. Naturally, price did decide to move higher from that point. Look at this green vector candle right here. They closed at the highest point, potentially at the highest point, and they only moved ever so slightly, okay? But this was around about 2 o'clock. We had news plays as well, and then they dropped price to the downside. There was no conviction by the green vector to go above the 50, which was one indication that this could be a false move. And it played out to be a false move. Go back and watch the stream on the 12th of February. From the 12th of February, that is the New York session. And we have that conversation about that zone. Okay? So really what your goal is, guys, is to try and take advantage of retail traders who believe that price is going to go from one point to the next. And obviously ride the coattails of Mr. Market Maker, because he's only going to provide this facility here of price doing a stop hunt rise and fall, or a stop hunt fall rise. Okay. He's only going to do it if he's got people committing to the charts. That's one really important thing. These candlesticks are the result of people's commitment at believing that Bitcoin should be going lower. This move to the downside was clearly news orientated. Tensions overseas. Fine, we get it. But then when we go back to images like this, was the idea of news really... Did they really react to news the day it came, or were they just preparing for it regardless? Was the play going to happen in our favor? You know, with or without the news? And that's the thing that we'll always try and work out. Will the news trigger people to do something? Yes, it does. Yeah? But they were doing this beforehand. People were pretty bullish about Bitcoin in this zone. And it didn't play out. People blaming news. Well, you guys know what my stance is on news. It's a catalyst. It's an excuse. Okay? All we needed to do was just observe what was going on in the charts. We anticipate that because Bitcoin was coming away from a W formation here, that we anticipated that this move to the upside, all right, this little zone here was a level 1, this zone was a level 2. We're waiting for the continuation back up to break out for level 3. However, they formed an M formation instead, and then they dropped straight back into the range. Now, it invalidates the cycle. However, this is on the 1 hour time frame. You roll onto the 4 hour time frame, things are a little bit different. All right. You've got the W formation. In my opinion, this could be seen as a level 1. Yes, it's an M formation, but it could be seen as a level 1 zone. So in other words, we anticipate Bitcoin to attempt to try and move back up from this range. However, the liquidity is down below. So how low will Bitcoin go before it decides to try and come back up? We have to label that off in the charts. This area here, and of course, this area here. Now, most of you guys, I said this last night, some of you are waiting for this to happen. You're waiting for a little bit more of a pull to the downside to form the second leg. Could this be the second leg? Yeah? Because the problem that I had with this zone right here, guys, was the W formation. Yeah, you had a first great drop to the downside here. And then when they retraced back up into the moving averages, they just pulled back ever so slightly and they continued back up. Now, the more time they spend moving price down lower, it's consistent with them building their longs at lower prices to break out at a later point. Yeah? But looking at the way Bitcoin is behaving right now, We're going into the weekend. It's all news plays. Anything can be said about the Ukraine and Russia situation, and Bitcoin is the only marketplace out there that's going to be able to react to it. Okay? So please, please be aware of it. Now, I'm going to do this one quickly. I shared something to the patrons earlier on today, and it was talking about the dominance chart, USDT dominance. Now, this is the 17-hour chart on there, all right? When I pulled this up earlier on, I was looking at it. I was saying to myself, okay, this zone right here, I'm very familiar with, all right? It's practically a stop hunt low, stabilize, shifting out of the range, all right? They're always going to recover the imbalances in the chart, okay? Now, I anticipated that they were going to come back into this range here, move higher to recover the previous vector candle, all right? Now, of course, when the dominance chart is rising, it means that people are taking their money out of crypto and putting it into the equivalent of safety in cryptocurrency. All right. So I shared this projection out. And then when we go to the actual chart itself, you can see that the US dominance chart did actually go in that favor. So if we look at the 17-hour chart again, you can see it actually came into the previous red vector zone right here. All right. Now, the problem we've got, guys, is this. If you pull this chart up next to Bitcoin, the moves are going to be exactly the same. All right. But it was at this point in the chart where I led myself to believe that, look, based on the strength from this zone and the fact that they had contained the yield in this area here, I'm favoring higher prices, which was going to lead me to believe that Bitcoin was going to drop. Okay. Now, the trigger to see Bitcoin drop was this. I wanted to share this out to the guys, and we pulled up this image here. Now, this image was for a quick scalp. All right. Now, this is on 2-minute time frame. I noticed that Bitcoin kept on holding this range right here. They spiked above the daily open, came back down, spiked again, came back down. Whenever they spike the daily open in any asset, all right, it's a psychological zone. Why? Because when people see a coin trading positively, or a currency pair or a stock, when it trades positively, when they've been watching it all day trade negative, it changes the sentiment. Oh, you know what? It's actually trading high. You know what? Let's start buying it now because it's going to come back up. Naturally, on the hybrid system, you'd be expecting them to come back up into this range. But the problem that we've got is this. When they move into the previous vectors at speed, all right, you've got to be careful because they are prone to bring it back to retrace to test it back up again. All right. So what I was looking for here was, based on the intention of the market maker to move price higher and spike once, spike twice, of course, it was this zone right here that gave me the belief they were going to go down lower. All right. So I shared this projection out to the guys and I said to them, there's a rejection in and around the daily open. The narrative across the board is negative. We've got issues with Russia and Ukraine. All right. I'm expecting price to come and land into these pools of liquidity and these wicks because everyone is, in essence, as they like to put it, bearish. But to understand it correctly, the market is in a markdown phase. So the market maker was in the mood to drop price. So any retrace back into the range itself could have been seen as a trap, which is why you're seeing the spikes to the daily open, both instances, really wide candlesticks, stopping volume candles all over the place. Okay. It was designed to manipulate traders. Now, when we actually pull this chart here and pull Bitcoin up, you can see at that point in time in the chart itself. So I'll go into the 2-minute time frame, zoom out just so that you guys can see it clearly. It's this zone right here. So let me get that up for you. Here it is. So I'm going to mark it off there. So here is the zone itself. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see it. Cool. All right then. This is where we were. All right. So just after the US Brinks, 1, 2, 3 candles. So we're going off that candlestick, right? Yeah, this one here. Okay. And we'll roll off that one. So I had my zones painted out, got my arrows. And yesterday's low was in that range. Now, I said to myself, where is there in the chart where the market maker is able to trigger traders' intentions? How is he going to influence traders to commit liquidity to the chart? Because he can only move it into this area if he can see that people are likely to come and test that point. All right? So when we look at yesterday's low, which was all the way back in this area here, okay, which is where we are pretty much right now, all right, I was of the understanding that what reasons do they have to move price lower? We've got vector candles, we've got wicks, we've got the narrative of them marking down price. Could I exploit this? So sent the projection out, and happy days, a few guys managed to exploit that. Okay. And as you can see from that point, they came all the way, tested yesterday's low. All right. Didn't test it straight away, but they came into it, spiked the range to the downside, and then shifted back up. Actually, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it was this zone right here. Forgive me. That was the zone. There it is. Yeah, that was the range. I was in the right point anyway. Nice boomer moment. But you can see what they did there. Fitting with the narrative of yesterday's low, which was designed to trigger retail traders to commit liquidity at that point. They initiated the breakdown lower, got them to commit shorts, and then they reversed it back up. Stop, hunt, rise, drop. Treacherous behavior. Keep an eye out on these sort of plays, ladies and gentlemen. Look into the candlestick to understand what is the market maker trying to get the retail trader to do. How's he going to get him to put money in the charts? Because, guys, most people will commit liquidity on two instances. One, they fear they are missing out on a good thing. And two, greed. They've already got positions in. They want to add more money into it so that they can get the best amount of liquidity into the chart so that they can make the biggest return. All right? It's not ideally a great way to be trading. You need to pick spots. You need to pick zones in the chart where you improve the chances of it playing out when you collate the confluences all together. All right? So let's look at Bitcoin right now to understand what we are going to see it do very soon. Well, look, guys, pull up the chart, the USDT chart, okay? And pull up Bitcoin and just have them side by side, all right? So that you can understand what they're likely to do next. Now, we've got a recovery of this vector zone right here. As you can see, they came up into that zone, recovered that point. We've got one more spot right here as well. All right. Now, before they could try and take this range up here, we might see a little bit of a retrace back down and then potentially form a continuation to the upside. Okay, that could be a possibility. Or they could simply just move higher. Remember, we've got Asia tonight, and they're going to have their fair share of today's price action. They're going to react to price as well. Okay. So keep an eye out on USDT. Now, the only way that you can really exploit USDT and Bitcoin is if you mark off in the range where is price likely to end up. That's the key thing. Likely to end up. But unfortunately, guys, if you haven't noticed already, the moving averages are pretty flat. Okay, this is a volatile move up. So I'm waiting for it to stabilize. And if it's going to continue, we will then see price move higher. The 5 and the 13 EMA have not been broken. So it looks like things are still positive for USDT, which then tells us that traders are still putting their money and seeking a safer option, which in relation to Bitcoin, we are probably likely to see Bitcoin come down lower. Why? Because it has every reason to. Okay? Just look at this. Do you remember when this happened? Yeah? This moved to the downside like so. Tell me why that's any different to what we've got right now. Here's this zone. Yeah? So from... look at all of this. Up to there. Yeah? And then look right. Saw the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Now, what I'm saying about this zone and this zone here, guys, is where price is at right now with Bitcoin, is there a good chance that we're going to see it go down lower? See, what's crazy is this, and I hope you've managed to sit with me through this video. Look at this zone. Yeah? Look at the time. It's 10 o'clock in the evening. This area here. Yeah? That's Asian session. Look what it does. Comes back up a little bit, and then it completely obliterates the range. Are we in the same story? Yeah? So, finally, Bookmap. We got lots of liquidity in this area here. 37, 36.5 and 36. 30,000, the liquidity has increased. It went from 389 to 406, and now it's at 531. Does it mean price is going to go there? Nope. What it means is traders are favoring lower prices. The order book is showing there's a favor to see lower prices. Will the market maker move price to that direction? We need to understand, based on price action itself, if he's likely to do it. Can we see the liquidity, the imbalance? Yes. Where are there points in the chart that they can encourage traders to either go long or go short so the market maker can open the positions opposite that retail trader? Mark those off in the zones. Mark them off in the chart. Understand what are they needing to do in order to achieve price in these areas like so. Okay? And then, ladies and gentlemen, you take your trade. Because there's nothing else you can do. You can pull as many confluences as you want. But ultimately, you're only going to know if you've applied the right confluence if you place a trade. Simple as that. Yeah? Over this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be doing some other videos on aspects of the hybrid system. Some people have asked some questions regarding, someone asked a really good question as to whether we should use any indicator at all or forego all of them outside of the hybrid system. You know, what's the best time frame to scalp aside from the 1 minute? What are consolidation zones, specifically how to read when price goes in and out of these zones? Other questions like some details on methods for calculating, managing, leverage and trading fees. So I'm going to try and get through as many videos as possible over this weekend, so that you guys have got something to contend with. Okay? So, again, I won't be going live tonight, guys. Mad love and respect. And if you are new to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to subscribe. Alright? In the actual description of the video, it does contain the website, tradersreality.com, so you can go and download these indicators and just hit the streams, ladies and gentlemen, because the information's there. Alright? Have yourselves a wonderful evening, guys. Take care of yourselves. Peace.